Hello, I am Abby Steigerwald. I am the lead chiropractic assistant here at Anderson Family Chiropractic. I am super excited today to talk to you about the heart sound recorder. It's a new device that we have here in our office, and we're super excited to be able to bring it to our patients. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of my passion, why I'm so passionate about the heart and the heart sound recorder. I grew up wanting to be a cardiologist. My mom was a nurse, so I was around sort of that healthcare talk my whole life. And I knew I wanted to help people in that way. So I went to school or went to college as a biology pre-med major with the intention of eventually going to medical school and being a cardiologist. Things changed a little bit along the way, and I ended up changing my major to exercise physiology and getting my master's degree in exercise physiology with a concentration in adult fitness and cardiac rehab. So I was able to work for 14 years in the cardiac rehab department at the University of Toledo Medical Center. I was able to work with a variety of heart patients as they recovered from heart attacks, stents, bypass surgery, valve surgery, and even transplants. And it was really awesome to see people improve their heart function with exercise. I really loved that. I also was able to do some cardiopulmonary exercise testing, which is that picture you see on the right. So looking at the heart and the lungs as a person exercised. And a lot of those patients we did as a qualifier for heart transplant. So doing those tests on a lot of very sick individuals. Part of my job was looking at a lot of EKGs. So I've had a lot of experience with EKGs, which was kind of what piqued my interest when I first had a heart sound recorder done on myself, because it looks a lot like an EKG. We'll talk a little bit about the differences and what exactly we're looking at. And then down in the lower right corner of the screen, you see I'm also a certified health coach and a certified life coach through the Health Coach Institute. This was something that I pursued a couple years ago, just because I wanted to be able to help people in a different way. And I'm looking forward to kind of applying those principles as I work with patients in the office with the heart sound recorder. So when we look at the heart, your heart is the most important muscle in the body. It is a muscle, if you didn't know that. Every day it beats 100,000 times, sending 2,000 gallons of blood through 60,000 miles of blood vessels. Pretty amazing. It is also the first muscle that responds to nutrition. So we say that the heart eats first. The heart is going to take what it needs and then pump the blood out to the rest of the body. So in order for it to function optimally, it's vital that the heart have the proper nutrients to maintain its correct rate, rhythm, and tone. The heart sound recorder is a low-risk general wellness cardiac stress monitor with a specialized microphone strategically positioned to hear and record the sounds of the 4 heart valves. All right, when we talk about the principles of the heart sound recorder, what does it do? It monitors certain types of heart stress by recording the rate, rhythm, and tone of the heart cycle. So I've already mentioned rate, rhythm, and tone a couple of times. We're going to talk about what that means in a little bit. It assists healthcare providers in observing the heart's reaction to certain chemical, nutritional, and emotional stressors. It monitors the heart's response to external stimuli, such as vitamins, sugar, caffeine, and alcohol, by observing changes in frequency, ratio, amplitude, and other characteristics of the heart's waveform. And it provides comparison graphs that can help determine the effectiveness of actions taken to improve quality of life. So this is the cool part of heart sound recorder, where we can take a graph, we can analyze it and make nutritional or lifestyle recommendations based on what we see, and then follow up with another graph to see how effective those actions have been. This is Dr. Royal Lee. He is the founder of Standard Process, which is the brand of whole food supplements that we carry here in the office. And he's also the developer of the endocardiograph, or the heart sound recorder. It was developed in the 1930s. So this quote says, "From our experiences since 1930, acting as a clearinghouse for nutritional information regarding the heart, we can say that we find no condition, either directly or indirectly, so responsive to nutritional therapy as that which is reflected in heart conditions. And when I read this quote, it was really just interesting to me because after working with heart patients for 14 years, they aren't given very much nutritional direction, which was something that was always very frustrating to me. They're told to eat a low-fat diet or they're told to eat a low-sodium diet, but they're not really given much guidance as far as what that means or how to do it or any follow-up. And for something like the heart that is that responsive to nutritional therapy, we should be doing more for those people. All right, so we're going to look at what the heart sound recorder looks like. It's actually that little black box that you see there. That's the actual device that does the recording. And then next to it, that little circular device is the microphone. And that all just plugs into the laptop and we get the recordings right there on the screen. You can see those two individuals there on the left being hooked up to the heart sound recorder. So that microphone just straps onto the chest and then we can right away see the graph up on the computer. So this is how the sensor placement looks. Move my head out of the way here. So we have 4 different positions that we're going to place that microphone. The first is the mitral position there on the left side of the chest, and that's going to look at the mitral valve, which is the valve inside your heart on the left side between the upper and lower chambers. The next is the tricuspid position. Looks at the tricuspid valve, which is the valve also inside your heart between the upper and lower chambers on the right side of your heart. Next is the aortic position, which looks at the aortic valve. Okay, your aorta is the big vessel that pumps the blood out to that carries the blood to your whole body. So the aortic valve is located on the left side of your heart before that blood goes out to your whole body. And then the pulmonary position looks at the pulmonic valves, which comes out from the right side of your heart and takes the blood to the lungs. All right, so in healthcare, the stethoscope is used to assist the practitioner in the science of observation. So we've all had a stethoscope used on us. The heart sound recorder, though, improves on the stethoscope by recording and graphing the sounds of the heart, allowing the practitioner to acquire, display, record, and save heart sounds. The heart sound recorder is unique because it is tuned to the frequency of the heart. Therefore, it captures only the sounds made by the heart without interference from other sounds in the body. So this is something that's interesting because when a doctor uses a stethoscope on you to hear your heart sounds, yes, he will hear your heart sounds, but he's also going to hear your lungs, he's going to hear any digestive sounds, and he's going to have to differentiate what's what. The heart sound recorder, though, improves on that because it's tuned to those frequencies, so it's only going to detect the heart sounds. All right, this graph is really interesting. It shows the relationship between the range of sound produced in the heart and the threshold of audibility of the human ear. Okay, so we're graphing the frequency and intensity of sound. This is audible speech that we hear. So pretty high frequency, pretty high intensity. This is the threshold of audibility. So above that threshold are the things that we can hear. Below that threshold would be the things that we can't hear. And audible cardiovascular sound kind of lives in that overlap right there. And this would be what a doctor could hear with a stethoscope. Now below that threshold of audibility lives all the other heart sounds and murmurs. So this would be things that the sounds that the heart makes that a stethoscope won't be able to hear, but a heart sound recorder would be able to pick up. Okay, so now we're going to talk about rate, rhythm, and tone. We've mentioned it a couple times. This is what we're looking for on a heart sound recorder. So your nervous system controls the rate at which your heart beats. Optimal resting heart rate is 60 to 80 beats per minute. Like we said, it's controlled by the 2 sides of your nervous system. So the one side is called your sympathetic nervous system, which controls your fight or flight response and generally speeds up your heart rate. There's also your parasympathetic nervous system that manages your rest and digest response and slows your heart rate down. And you want to have a healthy balance between the two. You don't want to always be in sympathetic mode with your foot on the gas, or you don't want to always be in parasympathetic mode with your foot on the brake. You want to have a good balance. The rhythm of your heart pertains to how regularly your heart beats. So most of us have probably heard about the lub-dub of your heart. Okay, and when we look at a heart sound recorder, the lub-dub would be, the first sound would be your lub, the second sound would be your dub. Okay, we want this to be in a steady, consistent rhythm. So you can see here, you have lub, dub, rest, lub, dub, rest, lub, dub, rest. So this would be a nice rhythm to the heart. And we're also looking at the period of time that your heart is working right here, and the period of time that your heart is resting and filling up with blood. We want this rest period to be twice as long as that work period. And then the tone of your heart refers to the strength of the contraction. So we're looking at the height and the width of these sounds to show how effectively those ventricles are contracting and ejecting that blood during systole. Right, so everybody's heard of B vitamins. A lot of people are taking B vitamins. Many people either take a multivitamin or some other, B complex on a daily basis. They are two of the most common supplements that people use. However, most of them contain cheap synthetic ingredients and are missing the actual foods that contain the B vitamins and other enzymes, coenzymes, and minerals. What we carry here in the office, offered by Standard Process, is called Cataplex B Core. It's a whole food vitamin B complex, and I listed out the ingredients in there. You can see, you recognize all of it. None of it's synthetic. It's all whole food ingredients, high in vitamin B. And something specific to Cataplex B Core is that it contains vitamin B4. Most B vitamin supplements are not going to contain this because it can't be synthesized. It's only available from whole food sources. So it's not going to be in the vitamin B that you get at Costco or the vitamin B that you get at Kroger. Vitamin B4 promotes efficient nerve conductivity of the heart and helps maintain the rhythm of the heart. All right, so now this is the fun part where we get to look at heart sound recorder examples and how specifically the heart can respond to different nutrition and different modalities. So this is a normal graph. We'll kind of review rate, rhythm, and tone with this graph. So average heart rate is 72 beats per minute with a healthy range of 60 to 80. Rhythm, okay, so this rhythm looks good. We have a first sound and a second sound and a good rest period. So we have good balance between that work and that rest period. And the tone, so we should see that the first sound is 2 to 3 times higher than the second sound. It's got 3 to 4 tall peaks, and it's nice and tight. Okay, so we'll get into the examples here. Here's just that normal graph again. And then this would be a heart sound recorder taken on a person, okay? Obviously not normal, okay? We don't have a good rhythm. It's hard to even tell the rate because we have a lot of extra things happening here. And then we have a lot of disturbance here in this flat line, indicating that the heart is not resting as well as it should. Okay, so this person was given some Cataplex B, and a couple hours later, this is what we see. Okay, so this graph looks much more close to that normal graph that we see above. We have nice rate, rhythm, and tone. All right, this is another really cool Cataplex B Core example. This was done on a 12-year-old boy. He was sitting on the couch and he felt like his chest was pounding. He had played hockey that day, so he might have been a little bit dehydrated, but he also ate 2 donuts, so he had a lot of sugar. Sugar is one of those things that's going to deplete B vitamins, okay? And when your heart eats first, yes, it's going to take those B vitamins in first, but it's also going to take all that sugar in first. Okay, so his mom had access to a heart sound recorder, so she hooked him up, and this is what she saw. Okay, so when we're talking about rate, rhythm, and tone, it's hard to distinguish any of those things here because there's a lot of things missing. Okay, you can't really tell the rate because you don't really have first and second sounds. You have long pauses. This is actually a continuous 20 seconds. So those 4 strips could be lined up together. So it's a continuous 20 seconds that we're seeing here. So at this point, his mom didn't really know what to do, but she gave him some Cataplex B-Core. She gave him 2. And she waited 5 minutes and she did another scan. So we talked about, again, the heart eating first. So within 5 minutes of some B vitamins, this is what his heart sound recorder looked like. So it's definitely not perfect, but you have a much better rate, rhythm, and tone here. It's, you're better able to distinguish those first and second sounds and better able to distinguish the work and the rest periods than you were in that previous scan. Pretty cool. All right, this is a before and after a reflexology treatment. For those of you that don't know what reflexology is, it's a type of massage done on the feet. And the theory is that every organ and system in your body is represented in your feet. So if you apply pressure to these areas, you can help those areas to relax and heal. So this is actually my graph before and after my first reflexology treatment. So if we look here, this top strip is before reflexology. And a couple of things that I noted is that we want to see my work ratio be half as long as my rest. And you can see it's pretty much in a 1-to-1 ratio. So my heart is not resting as much as it should. It's not given kind of the ample time to fill up with blood before it contracts again. And it's more of that sympathetic nervous system than having a good balance between both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. You also see here that I'm missing a second sound. So I should have a first and a second sound, that lub dub that we talked about. So I was missing 6 of these in 20 seconds. So after reflexology, you can see that that rest ratio lengthened by 1/10 of a second. Okay, so it's more in a 1-to-2 ratio now than it was before. Okay, so better balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. I also was able to gain back a lot of those second sounds. So up here I was missing 6, and after reflexology I was just missing 1. And this is just another look. That first one was in my mitral valve. This one's in my tricuspid valve. Okay, so before reflexology, again, I'm missing a lot of those second sounds. I was missing 7 of them. And I had 2 episodes of this extra beats or flutter where I'm not having that consistent lub dub rhythm that I should be having. After reflexology, I gained back some of those second sounds. I was missing 7 before, and now I'm missing 4. You can see that work to rest ratio is about 1-to-2, so good balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. And I didn't have any of those episodes of extra beats. All right, here's a look at before and after coffee. So caffeine is another of the things that depletes B vitamins. So again, we can see how responsive the heart is to good nutrition, but then also to things like caffeine and sugar. So this first strip represents before this person had had any coffee that day. Okay, so I measured that first sound, and it is 0.12 seconds, which is exactly what it should be. Okay, the tone of the heart looks pretty good here. Down here, after coffee, you can tell that the tone is not quite as great here. We don't see those nice tall peaks, and it's measuring 0.17. Okay, so it's much more drawn out than it was before. Also, I just want to note here, just this person's blood pressure as well. So before coffee, she was at 110/70. After coffee, 160/98. Right, and then another cool example of how chiropractic can support heart health and having evidence of that on the heart sound recorder. So for this person, this is a look at his mitral valve, and the only thing that happened between this first recording and the second recording was he had an adjustment. Okay, so you can see in this first recording, this is his first heart sound, and it measures 0.21 seconds. And after his adjustment, you can see it looks a lot better. It's a lot tighter. and it measured 0.12 seconds. So that chiropractic adjustment really helped this person's tone in his heart. And then just another look in his tricuspid valve. Okay, we're looking here at that work to rest ratio. So remember that rest ratio should be twice as long as the work ratio. Here, before his adjustment, it measured 0.40 seconds, and after his adjustment, measures 0.50 seconds. So you can see that work ratio is about half as long as his rest ratio now. So that chiropractic adjustment brought better balance between that sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So as far as HSRs here at Anderson Family Chiropractic, we are going to start rolling them out on Wednesday, June 8th. Appointments are going to be on Wednesday mornings for now. The cost is going to be $40, and that's going to include the HSR scan, which takes about 10 minutes, and then an interpretation and recommendations based on how your scan looks. So when you leave that appointment, you're going to have a good idea of what you can do going forward to support your heart nutritionally. And for the month of June, as we roll this out to our patients in the office, your first scan you can have for $25. So we're going to offer a little bit of a discount for you to start getting your heart sound recorder done in June. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned a lot about heart sound recorder, and hopefully we'll see you soon in the office.